everyone, welcome to D.TOX Live. I hope you're so excited. We're excited to spend hopefully the next half an hour with you. We're going to talk all things prep for detox as we begin on Monday. I'm Coach Anika. I'm going to be your host and your coach over the next 2 weeks. I've got Amber McMillan here.
Hello.
She heads up our weight loss division at Lifetime, and we're really just super excited to really spend the evening with you. We've wanted to do this for so long.
Yes.
We've been running a detox program for the last few years at Lifetime, so our goal today is really just you prep this week and this weekend so you're set up for success on Monday and feel good and confident.
Yes.
So I know you're happy to be here.
We've been doing detox for a long time, and one of the benefits of this is we can give you all the hacks that Anika can make this easy for you. So some of you have probably done this before. I know there's a lot of you that it's your first time. So I remember when it was my first time, it can feel a little overwhelming. So the idea of the next 30 minutes is to try to break this down and make it easy. So let's start with the shakes. Now, some of you may not be using the shakes, but we definitely recommend that you're using the shakes as part of detox. So I know that's the first thing that we get a lot of questions about is, okay, what's in this kit? What do I do with the shakes? How is it gonna work? How is it gonna taste? Am I gonna hate the taste of this? So give us a little bit about what's in this kit.
Absolutely. Well, and I always love people that do this program because it actually introduces you to a protein shake, which for us, we live by them, but they're super convenient. It's such an easy way to get in good nutrition. So if you're doing the detox kit, you probably already opened it up, hopefully, and you're gonna see there's 2 powders in there. So there's a detox shake mix and a fiber mix. Now, what's important about that, and we're gonna talk a little bit about what detoxification actually is, like what is the point of a program like this? But this shake mix is loaded with certain nutrients that actually helps your body go through the detox process. So it's loaded with protein, obviously because it's a protein powder, but there's a multi-mineral and a multivitamin in there, along with super botanicals that actually help your body's detox organs, such as your liver, such as your kidney, etc. So the goal, and what I would say is where it's so different from other detox programs, is it actually helps your body go through that process, because what people always don't realize that I talk to is they've done cleanses before and they're like, I didn't do any protein. And it's actually impossible for your body to detox without enough protein. So the goal is to do one of these shakes, at least for the first 10 days. You're gonna do 1 shake a day. And then we flip to 2 shakes towards the end of the program. But the fiber is also in there. And so this one, I always do a couple words of caution with my clients, is the goal is to do a scoop per shake, because most of us don't get enough fiber in. So most of our fiber consumption should come from fruits and veggies, natural whole grains. And again, this is a puller. It helps your body detox. It helps it excrete through bowel movements. It has so many benefits. So the goal is to have at least a serving a day, but you might need to work your way up there. So I've had a lot of clients ask me like, hey, I feel a little bit bloated and acidated from the fiber, and it's probably because they're not doing a lot of fiber prior to detox. So the goal is just to get enough in, but gradually, you might need to gradually increase it in there. So that's important.
The shakes are really great tasting, and I've used them a lot. I actually crave them sometimes. If I get a sweet tooth, I will want to have a detox shake. They taste so good. But Anika's point on, it is about nutrition. So you're having a shake because it is about fueling your body and giving yourself enough protein so that you're not hungry. We know, going through this for a long time, that people think detox means I'm gonna be cleansing, I'm not going to be able to eat food, I'm going to just drink liquids, and that is absolutely not what detox is about. So having a protein shake that tastes good is really important, because you're not going to feel like you're depriving yourself of some real good nutrition. So such a key staple. I think you're going to love it as you get into it and find that that's one of your go-tos and you actually enjoy having it, which is part of this whole, kind of breaking down detox, is it's not about depriving yourself. You're really going to enjoy eating real food and having a great tasting shake.
One thing we should say too, because there might be questions of, do I just drink this plain with water? What's the best way? And it is actually a full meal replacement. So you literally could just do the 2 scoops of detox mix plus the scoop of fiber, shake it up in a shaker cup with water and call it a day. And it does taste great. A lot of people are like, oh, I love the chocolate or I love the vanilla. Now, some people need a little bit more flavor enhancement. So we might say add some cinnamon in there. You could add a little bit of fruit. You could do, I always add just like unsweetened vanilla almond milk, or coconut milk is a great add too. And it's plant protein, we should say too.
Yes.
So plant protein's a little bit thicker. So if you've done protein shakes before, but maybe you've done like collagen or whey isolate or just a whey blend. Usually with plant, you want to go a little bit higher on the liquid. So I most often 8 to 12 ounces of liquid. Then it doesn't get too thick. It tastes great still, but just a word of warning there with plant-based, it's a little bit different than other protein powders
and just so you should have, because when we're talking about shakes, there's recipes that are amazing that I know all of your clients and the clients that we work with love. But in your program guide, which you should have already in your email, most likely, print that out. This is really a very useful tool. It's going to have your grocery list. It's going to have those recipes that Anika talked about, that if you do want it to be quick and easy, you can just mix with water. But if you actually are looking for something a little more flavorful, make one of the recipes. And you'll find the ones that you like, and then that just becomes super easy for you to kind of whip up that shake in the morning as part of your routine, and you won't have to think about it after you learn how to make a few that you like.
Awesome. So really, the shake is one meal a day for the first 10 days, like we've said. So we should talk about that too, of just the goal is to, people might have a question like, is this replacing all my meals, or where should I drink this shake?
Right.
So do you have a certain time of day you like your shake?
I like mine in the morning. I know Anika and I do work out in the mornings virtually. We do a class together, and I know right after class, as I'm getting the kids' backpacks packed and their lunches, ready for school, I'm having my shake as well. So for me, it's a great morning, quick protein opportunity for me, and it helps me set up my day so that I feel like I'm not maybe craving as much or as hungry, because you don't want to get too hungry as you're going through detox. And so having that shake in the morning for me is critical.
Yeah,
how about you?
I would say most people actually like it for breakfast, because breakfast tends to be the hardest time for people to get adequate nutrition in, especially when we're talking detox. We're going to talk about getting adequate protein at every meal. Breakfast is the hardest time. So I would ask you, those tuning in, if there's a meal during the day that you're like, that's the hardest one for me to get it right.
Plug this in.
It's breakfast for a lot of people. It's actually, for a lot of my clients, dinner. That by the time they get home from dinner, they're doing schoolwork, whatever, all the stuff happening, they're like, I would love just to drink a shake. So you do you, whatever makes the most sense. But the idea is to get good nutrition in, full and satisfied. Pick wherever that makes the most sense for you.
So I know detox sounds like, we talked about liver detox and the science behind it, but really what it helps do for a lot of you is really help with the sugar cravings. So when you're detoxing, I know most all of our clients are, I'm addicted to sugar. I can't stop, kind of craving sweets. I want to eat a lot of carbs. This is where we insert the 14-day detox, because it will help you, and it might be a little difficult. We'll talk about the first few days of detox and what you might experience, but it's going to help you get off of the sugar cravings, because your body is having those cravings for a reason. So maybe talk a little bit about how this helps break that sugar craving, situation that people get themselves into, and that's like, okay, let's do the 14-day detox.
Yeah, and it's probably the biggest anticipation question I get from people. Like, I'm excited, but I'm so worried to go through like sugar withdrawal, and like, raise your hand. Like, we've all been there. No one doesn't like sugar. So first, know that about yourself, that's a thing most of us deal with. And that just comes from sugar is all over our food supply. It's in everything. It's in ketchup. It's in everything that you didn't think it was in. So the idea behind detox with the shakes and the meals is you're going to satisfy your energy levels and your actual sugar cravings and hunger hormones. And we do that based off of how we set up meals. So every meal, we want you to have protein, fiber, and fat. And those three things together are like the perfect thing to stabilize your blood sugar, because a lot of the times it's not just about willpower, and that's what people think. They're like, I just need to quit. And it's like, first of all, yes, we can, help with your taste buds. Your taste buds can adjust to less sugar if you have a lot of sugar in your diet. But if we actually help your blood sugar stabilize, there's gonna be less up and downs. It's gonna stay even keel. You're gonna feel full and satisfied. And it's not about willpower. It's actually physiological, not psychological most of the time.
And if you think it is about willpower, that's where people fail, because they think, I just am not trying hard enough. It isn't about just trying harder. It's about eating the right foods so that your body does not crave sugar. So this is really the right way to try to break up with sugar, as we call it, versus just thinking, I just got to stop cold turkey. So an opportunity for you to really kind of hone in on why the foods matter, because those foods are nourishing your body in a way to help you really get off of some of those sugar cravings.
Awesome. And the recipes help. So one of my favorites with the shake specifically, I'm just going to highlight these two ingredients because I'm obsessed with the shake right now. Cacao nibs and then maca powder. Combine that with the detox kit and then whatever your preferred liquid, it's cookies and cream. So sometimes that's like my go-to is like, how do I find like the flavors that I like? I'm going to make it and turn it into a shake. So we'll help you out there for sure too, but I'll make sure to send that recipe. It's my favorite.
So let's talk about the 2 things that are the hardest for people when it comes to detox. And you guys, we know, trust me, we live this life as well every day, but there are 2 things that become the most difficult, and that is coffee and alcohol. And especially with COVID and the pandemic, we know these 2 things are probably surging for you. It's probably why a lot of you are looking to detox because, you know, you want to do this every quarter or on an ongoing basis. So that's why we've gone through it many times ourselves. But the 2, even hard for me, as you guys know, is trying to get off of the caffeine. So talk a little bit about maybe those first few days, because and maybe going into it, how we want you to try to get yourself weaned off a little bit of the caffeine, so it's maybe not as hard come Monday, but what you're going to feel as you start to wind down caffeine and then try to get out of that. Maybe you're having wine at night, and how we could try to, you know, get ourselves into a different habit versus having the alcohol.
Absolutely. So the why behind the caffeine, really, because there's a lot of really great benefits about coffee and caffeine. And I'll just say coffee because usually most of my clients, their caffeine is coming from coffee. So it's always a delicate conversation. Like, you told me there's like health benefits. I'm like, there is. But the problem is that when your body's going through detoxification, or at least these support mechanisms to help it detox, too much caffeine can actually speed up the process, and it makes a lot of your symptoms worse. So you can feel extremely sluggish, have exacerbated headaches. So the reason why we want people to wean off, and especially if you've ever weaned off coffee before, you know it can be a few days for your body to actually adjust. I love morning coffee because it helps my brain stay focused. I feel like I perform better at work. And I always have a celebratory coffee like the weekend before detox. It's like my last one's usually Saturday. So I would say, first of all, assess how much are you doing. Can you start to back it off already? If you're someone that's having, you know, midday, that's me, like try to back that one off first. You could also start switching half of it to decaf and caffeinated, whether you're going to a coffee store or making it at your house. But I always will get this question, is a little bit okay? And it really is dependent on you. That's your question. That's you every time. It just depends. It really depends on how your body actually processes caffeine. So I don't know, but I would say your best rule, if you think you absolutely need some, is a cup of coffee or less. So it's not a lot. So, and like a real cup, not like, not through the drive-thru, not your cup, but like a real 8-ounce cup, let's say, or less, is probably okay, especially if you're okay with dealing with some exacerbated symptoms. That always can happen. But if you can gradually get off, you will feel better. And after the first few days, your energy does retain. I'm going to make sure that you're drinking a lot of water to help with that energy as well too. And overall, it's kind of nice to feel not dependent on something, but at the end of detox, that's always the first thing I add back in. So no shame there. I get it. On the alcohol, uptake has like grossly exacerbated this year, and that's everybody. That's me. That's a lot of people. It's been a stressful year. So that's another one. I would say more recently, my clients are like, I don't know if I can take. It's a hard habit to break. Yeah, and it's become like a crazy habit, a more frequent habit where they're not even thinking about it. So I love wine glasses because, as cheesy as it's going to be, maybe you do some seltzer or just
seltzers, half kombucha with some seltzer.
So you still feel like you're enjoying, the part of it that's fun to, drink out of a wine glass. But we do, obviously, alcohol is a toxin. So as we're detoxing and eliminating it, we want to make sure we get away from that. So again, through this weekend, gradually go down. What I don't want you to do is go too hard either, because I get a lot of those questions who are like, I'm going to go big this weekend. I'm like, no, like wean it off
down
this weekend.
Versus go big.
For sure.
And just know that if you do set your expectations and a lot do, that I'm not going to have coffee and I'm not going to have alcohol for the next 14 days. And on day 3, you are just melting down and I need a cup of coffee, it's okay. Or you have a glass of wine, it's okay. Don't fall off the wagon because you're still going to, even if you do these, guys know I talk about 90% detox. Even if you're at 90%, you're still doing yourself so much good. And then you might hit another round of detox, maybe the next month, and you'll be even better. So just know it takes some time and experience. You may not get it perfect out of the gates. And we're not looking for perfection. No. We're looking for you to get as close to 100% as you can, but it doesn't have to be perfect.
For a lot of people, 80% is like
it's
good
amazing.
enough.
Yeah, Absolutely. You're going to feel really good. Keep focused on that at the end of 14 days, how good you're going to feel if you can commit to some of these habits, even if it's not all of them.
One thing I do this weekend too is I take my coffee pot off my counter, because that's an appliance I stick out there. So
it's a trigger.
Sub your blender for your coffee pot. And again, you're not seeing it. That should help get away from it too a little bit.
So let's talk about some of the foods, because going to the grocery store, getting yourself prepped is actually important. You don't have to spend hours prepping. We're not talking about, spending 3 hours in the kitchen. But there are some things that you do need to start to plan for, and it is making sure you have your guide, looking at the grocery list, the approved and non-approved foods. If you can just start there, looking at what are the things that I can't or should not have on detox, and then some of the key ingredients that we have here that make it a little bit easier. So why don't we just walk through? Let's start with maybe some of the meat choices for protein.
Love that. And there's definitely a few different ways. That's what I love. And I actually just grocery delivered this right before we went live, because I was like, oh, I'll just make a grocery order. So again, use your resources or hire out where needed. Like, use that if that helps you. But again, the idea is to get ample protein at every meal. So the shakes will help. But if you're eating food, that's where a lot of people always bring up, like, did you eat a lot of meat on detox? And that is a high protein food and is a convenient protein food. So generally speaking, yes. But the idea is, again, go for quality where you can. So again, when it's, we have chicken breast and just grass-fed beef, those are optimal quality choices. Those would be great. I'm gonna use those.
So what if I can't get grass-fed? Can I have regular beef?
You can have regular beef. Okay. At minimum, definitely just at least go for the high protein food.
Go for the high protein, try to get it grass-fed, but it doesn't have to be. So if that's not an option for you, just get the best that you can get.
That's a great point. And I would say a lot of times people use eggs, and we don't have eggs on detox. So they're always like, oh, eggs is like my high protein food, and eggs just happen to be a high inflammatory food. So we do eliminate it with a few other foods with this program. I did get just some deli meat. So again, like a boar's head or something fresh from the deli. Try to go nitrate free if you can. Go for quality. If this at least helps you get through maybe during a snack or to the next meal versus opening a bag of chips, I think that's great. I would do that all day. I always call that like fast food for me. And I love these, just like chicken apple sausage links. Again, I would just have these in your fridge so that if dinner plans, fall through, or you didn't batch prep something, you have some quick, easy protein choices to go through. And then of course I had bacon, and bacon's higher fat, high in protein as well. I usually use this to season vegetables, which we're gonna talk about over there. But that could be a great source as well too. So just making sure you have stuff at hand. And for me, how I'm gonna use these two is I'm gonna do some beef stuffed peppers with this, which is in the detox guide. And then I love buffalo chicken. So I just crock pot that with some buffalo sauce. That's easy. And that's just easy, quick.
When we talk about making protein, think about making protein for a couple of days. And we're a little bit different. Anika likes a little more variety. I'm one that can eat almost the same thing like for dinner every night. I'm not one that needs a ton of variety, but I batch cook a bunch of protein. So it might be like a bunch of chicken breasts and beef and maybe even a seafood. And I have that available for like 3 or 4 days so that you can kind of mix and match, but it's ready. I think the key to success here is that you have foods that are ready in the fridge. That doesn't mean making these big gourmet recipes, but you have proteins ready, you have real food at your fingertips, you know what your snack options are. And again, that's the little bit of planning that's gonna make this so much easier if you're just thinking through, have things on hand. Without anything on hand, your chances are you're going to be reaching for things that may not fit into the program. Again, not terrible if that happens one day or one night, but again, if you're thinking ahead and planning, get your groceries together, get a few things batch prepped and ready, your chance of success is really high.
And you kind of have to assess, like, what is your current cooking routine? So if you're not cooking at all, do not overwhelm yourself and be like, okay, I'm going to make 15 recipes and I'm going to batch prep everything. Like, you might be what you just did, like batch prep ingredients that are easy to grab and go. For me, you're right. I really just batch prep my lunches because especially it's like grilling season in our house. So like chances are next week we're going to throw something on the grill with some roasted vegetables and call it a night. But for lunches, I like to have a few different recipes that I can rotate a little bit. So then obviously fresh produce is easy. So fruits and veggies are on the approved food list. So I always get questions about that. Like, is there any certain fruits to avoid? And really, we just want you to eat as much whole foods as possible. But I would say as best you can with protein, eat vegetables, because that's where the fiber lives for the most part. And Amber wanted to share your go-to hack.
Let's talk about vegetables. These guys know I love roasted vegetables. I feel like has changed my life, thanks to Coach Paul Kriegler. Yep. So if you just take a cookie sheet that you have at home, I always put foil over top, or even sometimes 2 layers of foil, because then you don't have to clean the pan. And again, we're time-starved and busy. So if you find vegetables that are already cleaned and ready to go, or the steam fresh bags of, say, Brussels sprouts, they're already clean, lay them down on the foil, season them. However, try different seasonings: garlic salt,
onion powder.
I take Brussels and a little bit of bacon and cut up the bacon on top of the Brussels. Roast 400, 420 in the oven. It is a game changer. The vegetables taste so good. So my biggest piece of advice is don't eat things plain. Don't force yourself to eat something that's plain and boring. Don't force yourself just to eat plain chicken. Try the seasonings. It makes a world of difference. Roasting vegetables is the easiest thing. They taste amazing. You don't have any cleanup. So that's just been a big part of, on Sundays, we'll roast 3 different cookie sheets of vegetables, keep it for the week, and that makes it super easy, and you're not spending a bunch of time in the kitchen.
Yeah, I love that. My kids love that too. And you can just do like oil or oil spray them down with some sea salt. It doesn't even have to be seasonings. Right. You can just keep it simple. Yep. And a lot of people like the flavor of that. So that's always great. We should talk about snacks.
Yes.
Because that's like number one. I would say that's actually our real FAQ is at least I get that question all the time, is like, well, what about snacks? And snacks, there's like a gamut. It depends on where you fall. So if you're already doing snacks, I would plan for snacks immediately, because usually you're going to do really well on prepping and getting stuff, and then you're going to be like, shoot, I didn't eat enough.
Yep.
And then your next meal might not be for a few hours, and we just want to make sure you don't deviate from the plan. So you want to have planned snacks. A lot of coaches would say like, hey, you shouldn't need snacks, because if your meal has plenty of protein and fiber and vegetables, it should sustain your energy. But I will say there's a learning transition if you're eating enough or not. Right. And I would say most of my clients, they don't give themselves enough food at mealtime. So my goal with snacks is, again, shoot for fat, protein, or fiber. So I'm a big fan of just like cut up veggies with a guac or a hummus.
Let's talk about these. Yeah. So these are little to-go hummus.
You could make it yourself. We do have recipes for both, but if you want to find a little to-go, why I like these is it's portion controlled. And I don't love that word, but I would say these are condiments, and most of us overeat them. So if you want to make it easy and just pack that for work or have it at home with some baby carrots, or I had a cucumber, that's a really good go-to. Use these. This is good. It's got lots of fat, lots of fiber.
Guac.
That's guacamole.
Approved.
Yep.
So again, there are things you can buy that are ready to go that you're not having to make everything. So use the hacks that you can to make it easy and save yourself a little bit of time.
I love that. And then the other snack highlight, I would say, it's the after dinner snack. And that, again, you know if that's you or not. Not everyone does that, but my clientele,
sweet.
Yes. If you've been, hey, I sit on the couch, I watch a little program or TV show, and I want something sweet, I would definitely plan for that too. So there's a few really great recipes in the guide. The brownie bites are like the most popular recipe in the whole dang thing. I've been doing like just some dates with a little nut butter. That's super easy. You could do that, plan for a couple of those on the couch. Otherwise, we do like a protein truffle ball. That's literally chocolate protein powder. So if you have a favorite at home that's detox approved, it should be vegan or collagen, no way. A little bit of sun butter or an almond butter, some sea salt, a little water. You just mix it up and then you refrigerate them. That's like a game changer for a lot of people.
Definitely.
So the idea is make sure you know yourself. Like, don't lie to yourself. If you're someone you're like, I have to have something, like plan for it. But then over time, as you sustain your energy and how you're feeling, and you feel like, hey, I don't need a snack now, that's great too. So I would just say plan for it more than anything.
So let's talk about a couple of your favorite recipes. For those that do want to make some recipes or try a couple of different options other than just maybe the batch cooking or having the ingredients on hand, what are your couple favorites or the favorites you've seen your clients love? Yeah,
so people love the chilies. So, because it's easy and it's in a crock pot. Even if it doesn't feel like soup season, the white chicken chili or just a regular, it's super filling. And if you're someone where, hey, if you're going into work right now, you're not working at home, and you like just to have something easy that's packed, just like little mason jars. People love to put the chili in there, and they have 4 lunches ready to go for the week. The buffalo chicken in the slow cooker is like.
So you're putting the chicken breast in a crock pot, shredding it, and putting some hot sauce?
Hot sauce, yep.
So
you can do any sort of fat that's approved. So sometimes I do just coconut oil. You can use ghee, which is purified butter, which would be on the approved food list. And then you put it over a sweet potato. So, and you like to roast them. I love to just crock pot them too. And they're so good. So that's also a question we get too, is just, is there no carbs? You can do carbs. You just have to do whole food carbs. And most of us just overeat carbs or eat too many processed carbs. So sweet potato, rice, those are big go-tos for a lot of people. I'm blanking on the third one, but just potatoes in general are okay. That hits the approved food list. So
let's talk about what maybe the common things that maybe I slip up on or that I have that isn't approved. One I know is peanuts. So we talk about nut butters. There's almond butter or sunflower butter, but peanuts are on the not approved list. What are a couple others? I think about corn.
Corn pops up a lot because people will think tortillas, corn chips or corn tortillas. I have a brand of just tortilla. So if you like a carb at night, this is a really great one too. That's more of a starch-based carb, not a corn or wheat or gluten. They're in the freezer section. That's a great one too. But usually what people will do is they'll find something that's labeled clean at the grocery store, and then they turn around the ingredients. They're like, oh my gosh, I ate this bag of chips and
I didn't realize.
And I always tell people, like, if you wanted me to highlight a bread and a chip and everything that's detox approved, most of the time it's hard to find because there is a lot of stuff added in. Because
can I have bread?
Food.
Probably not.
Probably not for the most part. Now, if that's like a game changer for you and you're like, if I could just do one slice, I would say just mentally check yourself. If it completely steers you away from the program, include it for now, but I would say try to really stick to whole foods. That's the whole point because whole foods are going to be filling, satisfying. They're going to help you go through this process the best.
So
honestly.
Even if it's gluten-free, gluten-free bread would not necessarily be approved, but you're definitely looking for gluten-free. You're looking for no soy, no peanuts, no eggs. So eggs are something that I know a lot of us have in our diet, and I can tell you from my own experience that while some of this might seem hard in the beginning, you'll start to notice how good you feel. So let's talk about the first couple days versus at the end of, on day 3, 4, or 5, when you start to feel your energy surge, when you start to feel like I'm actually, like my brain fog is gone. And then you realize, wow, a lot of the foods I was eating, even though eggs are healthy, maybe I was having some reaction to it, or maybe it was making me not feel so good. So first couple days on detox, what are we talking about here?
Those are the struggle bus days. So I tell people, like, really just like focus, drink water, stick to the plan. Those will be the hardest days. And I'd say most of the time by day 4, your energy will surge. Now, I have a whole coaching group that's available. So if it's like day 4 and 5 and you're like, I've got a question about these symptoms still, like, reach out to us. We'll help you through it. It really depends on your toxic load and how ready your body is actually to remove or excrete toxins. But for the most part, a lot of the diet information and education, it's because those foods are highly inflammatory. So we're trying to reduce the inflammation, reduce the stress on the body, really just help support your body. But my favorite thing that people say when they go through it, they're like, can I keep eating this way? I feel so good. And you're like, it's because you're kind of intended to eat this way. And no judge against processed foods. We all eat processed foods, but they are man-made. They're they're far
highly
from
toxic.
what they originally were supposed to be. And we have to load them with stuff to make them last long. So usually when you're eating whole foods, you feel great. So you want to stick to it as best
So we
you
know
can.
on Monday and Tuesday, you might have a little bit of a headache. You might feel a little bit of brain fog. It's totally normal. That means that things are starting to actually work, and just know by day 3, things will get much better. So just leverage the group. We're here to support you and make sure that everybody can get their questions answered. But I think the biggest thing is just being prepared ahead of time. So mentally, you know what to expect, and you're ready to go when Monday rolls around.
Absolutely. And I would say if there's anything else to do this weekend, so like we talked about, like printing this off, put your approved food list on your fridge. I do that.
So you can reference it.
Just in
Take
case.
a picture of it. Have it in your phone.
Yeah, that's a good idea too. I love that. Have a plan for movement too. So it's nice out here. Depending on where you're at, but like maybe plan for a daily walk. That's really great when the headaches start, or if you're feeling hungry or feel like you're going to deviate, like go for a walk outside. And then we love to just figure out at least a goal around helping your body sweat. So if that's using the sauna at the club, if that's open at your club, an Epsom salt bath, there's a few other tips that we want people to at least plan for the next week, so that if you got your food planned out, you can drink water, you got your recipes, you got some sort of thing to do every day that's movement or sweating.
What about my norm? Say you are a more high intensity, workout person, and you're doing classes, group fitness classes, or your own workouts at home. Can you keep doing those?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the idea is we want you moving and we want you sweating, because that's going to support the detox efforts that you're putting your body through. Worst time, I would say, is to like find something dramatic and new. Like if all of a sudden I'm like, I'm going to start doing Olympic lifting every day. Like don't do that day one of detox. But in your current routine, usually we say about 80%. Like, could you give it 80%? Like don't push yourself to the limit.
Keep going. Keep
doing
your workout.
We want you to keep doing it for sure. If you're not doing anything, I want you to focus on walking and like strength training where possible, yoga for stress management. So you got to kind of assess yourself a little bit too, but I'm going to be outdoors. Like right now, outdoors, lifting at the club. Keeping some
definitely don't stop your activity. Some think, oh, I'm detoxing, I'm not going to have any energy, I need to stop working out. No, keep working out. You probably find on day 3 and beyond, you're going to feel even better. You might have more energy, and you can actually work out even a little harder than you thought. So just keep that activity going. If you're working out, keep it up.
Awesome. Anything else that
what other questions do we have coming in that we would want to answer? Let's check our notes here. I think the only other thing is maybe on just hydration and beverages we talked about. So I'm getting bored with the things. I'm just drinking water.
With water.
How else can I, is there anything else I can drink outside of just plain water?
Yeah, so what I always tell, that's always a goal of my clients, is like get them to like water. Because I've definitely had a gamut of clients who are like, I don't like water. I'm like, I will prove you wrong. You like water.
Yes.
I'll get you to like water. But I'm a fan of just like some sparkling waters. These are okay. These are great. Obviously read the ingredient list. Most of them are okay out there. So if that helps you get through. But the goal is half your weight in ounces.
Half your weight in ounces.
And that's hard for a lot of people. And you don't want to just jump to that either. You kind of want to gradually increase that. Because I always get that comment too, like, I'm in the bathroom all day. Like, there's a lot of water. But water, usually when you're dehydrated, that actually shows up as hunger for a lot of people.
Or headaches.
So I'm always like, if those are happening, you need to drink more water. Otherwise, like add lemon and lime to your water. That would be helpful too. But as much as the real water. And again, you're going to get water from the fruits and veggies that you're eating too. Those are filled with water as well too. But the goal, half your weight in ounces. Find something that you enjoy drinking out of. A lot of my clients like a straw.
Yes.
I don't need a straw, but I have a lot of clients that love a straw. Get something that's going to make you drink.
Yeah, it's almost like this weekend, find your vessel.
The
thing you're going to drink water out of, and just make it part of your routine. And sometimes it's fun to go buy a new water cup, or something that it's just part of getting ready for Monday so that you can hit the ground running.
Sweet. I think that's it.
Anything last thing on produce, anything off limits? Am I only buying organic, or can I buy just regular produce?
You can. We do highlight this in the guide, where there's the clean 15 that you can avoid, that you can stick to, that is not organic. But then the dirty dozen is usually what we would tell people, go for organic, because there's more pesticides and herbicides added to those specific produce items. We do have a veggie and fruit wash that's in there that can help take off pesticides as well. So organic when possible. If not, I still want you to eat strawberries, or I still want you to eat produce, even if you can't.
Even if you can't.
That's still beneficial. That's better than a bag of chips.
So if you can't get organic, just get good produce. Organic if you can get it.
Love it.
Okay, what other questions? Do we have any other questions coming in?
I don't know. We should probably look at this thing, because
let's see. We got gluten-free overnight oats. Gluten-free overnight oats. I know you're a big overnight oats person, so that's approved, right?
That's approved. So just make sure that the oats are actually gluten-free. That's a cross-contamination plant, so you can't just assume all oatmeal is gluten-free, but if it's highlighted as gluten-free, you're good to go.
Can I continue to use MCT oil?
Yeah, that's great. So I always ask, how are you using it? So if it's in like a smoothie or a beverage or your coffee, a lot of that was a big era of nutrition too. That's absolutely fine.
Okay. Shakes, question. What's Coach Anika's favorite shake?
Ooh, okay. So with recipes, I'm seasonal. So it depends on the time of year. I'm into this cookies and cream one though.
I know. She has talked about the cookies and cream nonstop, and it is really good. So walk us through, what is your cookies and cream recipe?
Okay. So it's the vanilla This is chocolate, but it's the vanilla detox mix. You can use chocolate though, just make it more chocolatey. And a serving of fiber. I do 8 ounces of liquid. So this is actually from my garage kitchen or my garage fridge. So this is the milk I have right now. I rotate.
Unsweetened almond milk.
Unsweetened almond milk. And you can find unsweetened vanilla flavor almond milk too. That helps. And then I literally do a tablespoon of cacao and then a tablespoon of maca powder.
Okay.
And if you've never had maca powder, it basically tastes like malt powder. So if you like malts as a kid, pick this up it's at any grocery store. And that's literally it. And ice. Yeah.
And blend.
And then blend. That's
Love it.
I love it. My kids love it. I love it.
Tastes delicious.
I'm obsessed.
Okay, a question coming in about should I weigh myself? What do we think about the scale and weighing ourselves?
Well, here's what I'm gonna say about weight in general, because it's not the best measurement, especially during this type of program. I'm a fan of weekly weigh-ins because there's a lot of things that impact that. So especially, and this is from clients, they're like, I made the mistake, I weighed myself the first 4 days, and it's gonna go up and down.
Right.
So imagine what your body's going through. Like detox is kind of a stress, but it's a good stress. But again, your cells, the liquid, all that stuff that's happening, it's not a great time to weigh in. But if you wanna do it once a week, to see how things are going, that's okay. The average weight loss with a program like this for inflammation is between 5 and 7 pounds. So it is a benefit for a lot of people, and that is why people actually do something like this. If you get to that point and feeling like, hey, I don't know if this is measuring up, email my coaches. We'll help you figure it out. Usually it depends on your metabolism and what's going on the inside.
So while it is not about just weighing yourself, we do know that most people are going to lose 5 to 7 pounds, and what we love about that is it is that jump start. So we like to call this like the jump start 14-day. It gets you kind of rejiggered, it gets you planning and in some good habits. It helps you break up with sugar, and then you can keep going. And so from there, that's when the real kind of more transformation is gonna come in, true, reducing body fat and getting into some of those transformational changes. This is consider this your jump start, and losing 5 to 7 pounds, you're going to feel really good in 2 weeks. And we're all starting on Monday too, so we're all excited to get those few pounds off that maybe you've been struggling with. That's going to come off pretty quick, so that's exciting. A question on when we're talking about milks. Obviously, dairy is not allowed. We have almond milk, coconut milk. What about oat milk?
Oat milk, it depends on if it's gluten-free or not. So again, that oat is
needs to be gluten-free.
It needs to be labeled as that. And there's a lot of different things out there right now. So it's hard. That's a newer nut, I hate to call it a nut milk, but a newer milk alternative that's come to the thing. I love the taste of it. Just make sure if it's not labeled, assume it's not, I would say, for the most part. But coconut, almond, rice.
And again, all of these things aren't just for 14 days. I mean, this is how we live now. So these are choices we make that just become part of your staples. So you're going to find things that this isn't just to do for 2 weeks. You're finding that these are integrated now, and that's what creates that long-term change, is that I've integrated things and found that I love almond milk, and you aren't using dairy anymore, and that is going to help with just ongoing management of your inflammation. So
love that. I would say too with that is just making sure that you usually find stuff that you like, and a lot of people are like, I didn't realize I was so reactive to dairy and gluten, and those are the 2 big ones. I hate to call those 2 out, but that's what next week we're going to talk about is like how to reintroduce this stuff, because you do usually find a lot of us react to certain things.
So a question, we talked about wine and alcohol. Can I cook with wine, or is wine out?
It is breaking down in the process of cooking. I would say try to eliminate it though as much as possible. So is it going to be the same as drinking wine and the amount of stress on your liver at that point? Probably not, but I would say eliminate it as much as possible. Not a deal breaker.
Okay, love that. So last question, let's talk about Monday. So when does class officially, obviously we did this as a way to prep so you can have the weekend, tomorrow and the weekend to get ready. So when does class officially start?
So we start Monday. So in terms of shakes, we start drinking shakes
on Monday.
Literally. So kind of start to see what that day's gonna look like. Honestly, and everyone's a little bit different. Like some people are at work, some people are at home, but like visually see like, okay, I know for me, we're gonna work out in class that morning, and then I'm gonna have a shake for my first meal. And I'm probably gonna have some hummus and vegetables at work for snack, and then I'm gonna prep that buffalo chicken, that's my lunch, probably steaks and asparagus for dinner. So start to like see it that way. But we begin Monday.
So if you're not using shakes, it's okay. You're gonna get a lot of benefit just by going through the food side of this. If you're sitting there and you're like, oh, it starts Monday and I don't have a kit yet, the fastest way is obviously if you're close to a club. You can go into the Life Cafe and pick up a kit. We have them there. If you order it online, which you definitely can do, you might not get it on Monday depending on where you live, but you can always start without it, and as soon as they arrive, then you can start on your shakes.
Yep. I usually tell people keep prepping until you get your shakes.
Yep.
Totally fine.
Yep.
Awesome.
Well, this was so much fun, and we're so excited. Join us in the group. Obviously, ask questions. The team here, we have an entire team ready to support all of you. Coach Anika, obviously, as the vet that we've done this for many years, and we're excited to kick off on Monday with all of you.
Awesome. Cheers to our first shake.
Yay.
Honestly. All right. See you guys.
See you.